Welcome to the 5-Pack, where we talk about the 5 things that matter, 5 things that will matter, and a daily pack rip. Here is your host, Kyle Elfrink.
We welcome you in on a Tuesday afternoon for some of you, morning for many of you. It is the 5-Pack here on the Better Sports Network. Kyle Elfrink hanging out with you, where we give you 5 things that mattered from the night before, 5 things that will matter for tonight, and of course, the ever popular pack break, which we've got a new arrival just into my slender and just cleaned hands today. We haven't done this pack of cards yet. Nothing from this set. It's Topps. Now we've done Topps, but we have not done a set that was created in the early 90s to compete with Upper Deck. Upper Deck changed the game. Topps decided to match the game. Topps Stadium Club. 1991, as you can see, second series. And as you can see in the corner, I'll have to talk about this more. Kodak. Does anything scream vintage more than that emblem? Kodak, who unfortunately has ceased to exist because now we don't have cameras. We don't have film. We have a phone that takes photos. That's what we have. Sorry, Kodak. But there was a time where, man, we're going to take photos from Kodak and put them on our baseball cards. And that was like a bonus. That was a selling point. Didn't save Kodak, and I don't think it saved Topps. But we'll relive 32 years ago, the 1991 premium edition. Topps got into the premium game with this set, and we will rip that pack open coming up a bit later in the show. Great to have you with us. If you've never been here with me on the Better Sports Network, we do this each and every day at 12 o'clock Eastern. What I love about doing this show is thanks to the talents of our producer, Heather Klein, we bring you highlights. We can show you the moments that we're talking about. So that's kind of fun. On top of that, I realize people are busy. You have lives. There's 12 to 15 games of baseball taking place every night. There's a lot of other sports, NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. Oh, yeah, NFL draft season. It's all going on right now. What we do here for an hour is tell you the stuff you need to care about. The stuff from last night that you may have missed, and the stuff from tonight to get you set for an evening of sports. So that's what we do. 5 things that did matter, 5 things that will matter, and then some fun at the end with our pack break. Let us get rolling with the 5 things that did matter from last night in the sports world. We've got 4 from baseball and 1 from the NBA playoffs. We will start, though, on the diamond, and we will start in a place where if I had done this show for like the previous 4 years, I probably would have close to 15 episodes by now, maybe more. I may be understating the notion. We'd have a lot of episodes where I would start with our 5 things that matter, dealing with Jake deGrom and yet another injury. Last night, he was doing deGrom stuff, no hits allowed through 4 innings, no runs allowed, striking guys out, throwing hard, hitting 100 on the radar gun. But when you get all that stuff from deGrom, all the usual stuff, you have to admit there is another usual item in the Jake deGrom arsenal, and it yet again is another injury.
A little bit warming up and thought it was going to loosen up, and it actually tightened up a little bit as the game went on. So playing it smart. Could I have kept going? Probably, but it was lingering, and it got a little bit worse as the game was going on, and I was like, hey, I just want to play this safe. We got a long season ahead of us.
Did you say something to Jonah before you came off? That was really the only thing that we noticed.
What, walking off the field there in that inning? Yeah, I said, hey, I don't know if I'm going to keep going, and he was like, you all right? And I said, yeah, I think I'm fine. And then I told Mike, I was like, hey, my wrist is bothering me. I woke up today feeling good. That's what's so frustrating. And went out there and was playing catch in the bullpen. I felt it and didn't think much of it. I thought once the adrenaline kicked in, it'd go away. But, like I said, it kind of sat there, and I think we made the smart move.
What's your level of concern right now?
I'm honestly not too concerned. I would like to think I'm going to make my next one, but we'll see. That we'll see how it is tomorrow when I come in. But it's that spot doesn't seem too concerning. So
I'm glad at least somebody is not too concerned. Actually, it's a lot of people not too concerned. Bruce Bochy after the game saying, "Oh, we think it's minor." I think the next scheduled start is supposed to be Sunday with deGrom. But here's the problem. You can't be unconcerned when it's Jake deGrom. Like, after I talk about deGrom, I'm going to talk about another guy who got hurt last night. And if the company line to me was, "Hey, we're not concerned," I would believe it with this upcoming guy we're going to talk about. With Jake deGrom, forget it. How many times do we have to go down this road? I ask you, I beg of you. It's finally here in 2023 where people realize what Jake deGrom is, even though I and many others, not many others, even though I and a few others have been saying it for 3-4 years now. The deal with Jake deGrom is he's great. Skill-wise, maybe the best in baseball, but you can't count on him. It's not out there enough. It's always something. I'd love to sit here and take the company line of the Rangers and say, "Hey, they're not concerned. We shouldn't be concerned." And I'd love to sit here and say, "Oh, the wrist. Who gets a wrist injury?" The answer is nobody gets a wrist injury unless you are Jake deGrom. It is only natural for Jake deGrom to have a wrist injury because everything else is always hurt. Shoulder, elbow, forearm, hell, why not the wrist? I guess coming up next will be the index finger. And then after that, I don't know if anything extends beyond the index finger. I don't know what we could possibly expect from Jake deGrom to get injured. But this man is so par for the course. And he may very well be out there on Sunday against Oakland. But I say this all the time with deGrom. I said it back in spring. Remember in the first spring when he had some issues with I don't even know. I've lost track of all the injuries, but he missed some time. He set out for like 3-4 weeks. Luckily, he was ready to go for opening day. Okay, yada, yada, yada. It was fine. But it's just more of the same. If you dodge this bullet, the next bullet's going to get you. You're always dodging bullets with Jake deGrom. Now, what we've got here is Jake deGrom still kind of doing Jake deGrom stuff. Yes, he's always injured, but he's dominant on the hill. As I noted last night, that win against Kansas City, he had a no-hitter through 4 innings. He was doing that with an injured wrist. Oh, my God, how great he is. But here's what we've got in 4 starts. And remember, you're paying this guy $30 million a season. 4 starts, we have 20 2/3 innings. It's 5 innings a start. Yeah. You got 1 win. You got a 3.48 ERA. You have 13.9 Ks per 9, 0.87 whip. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not. What I'm telling you is that's Jake deGrom. Really good, but not enough. Really, really good, but just not enough. Texas, they're going to say, "Hey, we're 4-0 in his starts," which I will say that is a fact. You are correct. Bravo, Texas Ranger and Jake deGrom backer. You're 4-0. You have played 4 teams who have a cumulative record in these 4 starts for Jake deGrom of 23-43. You're not beating good teams. You haven't beaten a single good team with Jake deGrom. The schedule has been your friend early on. I mentioned the start on Sunday. Guess who Jake deGrom, if he's able to make it, guess who he'll be pitching against? That'd be Oakland. They have the current 3-14 record. So the first 5 starts for Jake deGrom, he will be facing 5 teams who are like 27-58. Seriously. So this idea that, oh, he's dominant, he is, but he better be. These teams are awful that he's facing. Back-to-back starts against Kansas City. He's got Oakland now. I hope he's okay. I hope those that took an idiotic risk on Jake deGrom in their drafts, hopefully you get a 5th start on Sunday, right? Go for it. But I'm just telling you, enjoy it while you got it. Maybe it's not the wrist, but next time it'll be the elbow. And if it's not the elbow, it'll be the knee. If it's not the knee, it'll be a hip. And if it's not a hip, it'll be a ingrown toenail. It's always something with Jake deGrom. Let's move to item number 2, things that did matter from last night. I referenced the fact that I'd be talking about 2 injuries to get things rolling today. Jake deGrom being one. Sorry, I can't really act like it doesn't mean anything. This next injury, I can do that. And the difference is with this next injury, it's with a guy who doesn't have near the history of Jake deGrom. Now, he is an upper end pitcher, just like Jake deGrom. We are being told, just like the Rangers are telling us, we are being told this injury is minor. Our situation deals with Brewers right-hander Corbin Burnes.
Inside outside, still barrels it up.
Corbin Burnes is calling for the trainer, and you see him grasping at his chest as Dave Yeager and Craig Counsell both coming out, Chris Hook coming out. And Craig says, no, if you were feeling anything, get out. You saw him shut it down. So Corbin Burnes is going to leave this game after just 85 pitches.
Corbin Burnes looking pretty good last night before what eventually was termed a pec injury. Left the field last night in Seattle. Milwaukee eventually gets the win. They're 12-5 on the season. Here's the thing with Burnes. You saw it there in the video. Thank you to Bally Sports Milwaukee for providing that. Where was he pointing? He's pointing up here. Left side. Why is that important? It's because he throws with the right side. It's kind of a weird injury to have a pain on the left side, but you throw with the right side. So, again, this is one of those things we can only go by what the team's telling us. Right now, they're telling us it's minor. To me, the non-doctor, it makes sense that I'd much rather have the pec injury on the side I'm not throwing with than the side I am throwing with. So that's good news for Burnes. Craig Counsell said after the game, we think he can make his next start. Where have we heard that before? He's going to get further testing today. I could see maybe a missed start. You look at Corbin Burnes, he debuted in 2018. Now, he was one of these guys who did a little bit back and forth bullpen starting. Now, of course, he's a full-fledged starter. But for the most part in his career, and again, going back to 2018, this is 4+ years, almost 5 years. The dude's out there. He takes the ball. He pitches. Doesn't have elbow injuries, doesn't have forearm injuries, doesn't have shoulder injuries, doesn't have wrist injuries. So here is the difference. Jake deGrom, Corbin Burnes. You got to go with common sense. Corbin Burnes may make his first start. In fact, if I had to make a bet, I'm betting on Burnes over Jake deGrom. But both guys are a little off. Corbin Burnes was a guy, what was it, last week on the show? His first 2 starts were rough. He was getting set for start number 3 in Arizona, and we said it right here on the 5-pack. I said, tonight's the night. He's got to figure it out. What'd he do? 8 kick-butt innings against Arizona. Last night, he was doing Corbin Burnes stuff against Seattle. I feel fine with Corbin Burnes. I'm not worried about Corbin Burnes. But he did walk off the field last night. He did earn the win, by the way. deGrom did not. That's another difference between Corbin Burnes and Jake deGrom. deGrom's injuries always happen before he can qualify for the win. Look it up. He's been helped off the field many times by trainers. It's always early. It's always things like, I think I could pitch through it. And then 3rd inning, he's removed. He's always dominating, but he's not going 5 innings. Burnes is. It's a big difference. Those 2 guys, Burnes and deGrom, 2 of the first 8 pitchers off the board in fantasy drafts. Right now, we're wondering on both. We'll see. Further investigation, MRIs, treatment, all that stuff will tell us where we're at with Jake deGrom and Corbin Burnes. I will note it's April 18th. Why push it? Sometimes the teams think that way. So we'll see where we land there. Let's go to the offensive side of the diamond. We go to number 3 in our 5-pack of things that did matter from last night. Now, the Houston Astros got a big win last night against Toronto. We previewed that series just a bit on the show yesterday. And when I talked about that series between the Astros and Blue Jays, I said, hey, Yordan Alvarez, could you hit a home run? Well, just to update you, he still doesn't have a home run. Still looking for his first home run on the season. A guy who did hit a home run, a guy who's been killing the baseball in the first 3 weeks of the season. He did it again last night in Houston.
Chapman, a guy who has had a lot of experience playing in this ballpark and against the Astros from his time with Oakland. And he hits one to right center. This one has some carry on it, and it's gone. An opposite field home run for Matt Chapman. Number 4 on the season for him.
Yeah, he's really swinging the bat well, and that's what you got to do. Just get a couple guys on, keep stringing hits together, and get back in the game. It's the second inning. Plenty of time for sure.
Not enough time, though. Easy victory for Houston last night, but Chapman was a bright spot. Thank you to the Blue Jays Twitter feed for providing us with that audio and video. Matt Chapman is having an Aaron Judge type season. What do you mean? What do you mean, Aaron? Here's what I mean. Matt Chapman is killing it. Here are the numbers. 4 home runs, 8 doubles. 4 home runs, 8 doubles. He's hitting .410. His OPS is the best in baseball. It's over 1,200 right now. Now, why is he like Aaron Judge? It's not just because of the numbers that are Judgian right now. He's also, and can I invoke a tired and lame descriptor? Can I do that? Matt Chapman is betting on himself. And you thought Aaron Judge was the only guy who bet on himself. Matt Chapman's a free agent at the end of the season. Look at how he is betting on himself. You think you'll hear all those stories about Matt Chapman betting on himself? Probably not. Probably not. Here's the thing with Chapman. He's always has pattern. He is not a 400 hitter. Hell, he's not a 300 hitter. If Matt Chapman ends up hitting 275 this year, I'll be surprised. Okay, so let's push that to the side right away. Okay, he's got a lot of strikeouts in his game. He does walk. He's a good hitter. He's a good player. What's going well for Chapman right now, besides the results, is he is locked and loaded as either the 4th or 5th hitter, depending on the opposing hurler. He's going to bat 4th or 5th every single night. Because of his glove, he's out there almost every single night. If you look at what he's doing this year against lefties and righties, last season, he really, for some odd reason, struggled against left-handers. And in fact, he got very few chances against left-handers. This year, though, he's playing every single day, and he's having success against both righties and lefties. I was looking at his stat chart today and kind of his game log. Now, Toronto's not played a lot of games at home. I think they've got the fewest played at home in baseball. They've only played like 5 games. But what's crazy with Chapman is the guy has 16 RBIs on the season. 15 of the 16 are on the road for Matt Chapman. So Matt the Bat's looking good right now. I don't hate the idea. And I shouldn't invoke this on April 18th, but there is a little bit of trade high here with that Matt Chapman. Just a little. Because, again, he's not a 400 hitter. Nobody's 400. He's not 320 hitter. He's not 300 hitter. I don't think he's a 290 hitter. It's a lot of strikeout in his game. He has a good shot of getting to, 28 to 32 home runs. And if he's going to hit 4th and 5th in this Blue Jays lineup all season, pretty decent chance of 90-plus ribbies. But is he an MVP guy? Iffy. I think there are probably 3 other MVP candidates on that Blue Jays team before you make it to Matt Chapman. But another big hit for him last night. He is looking good, and it does certainly matter. Let's go to item number 4 on our 5 things that did matter from last night. We go down to Miami. Yes, things actually matter with the Miami Marlins. I've talked about this, on a few occasions here in the early days of the 5-packs. People who are looking for saves, right? I always want to point out, hey, this guy could get you saves. Hey, that guy could get you saves. How about this guy? Well, let's go to Miami. There's another guy to maybe, perhaps, put on your saves watch list.
You want up in this situation. Right-handed hitter. He's clutch, facing left-handed closer.
This one's in the air, left field. Plenty of room. De La Cruz is there. He makes the catch. It's a Marlins win. A come-from-behind win as the Marlins win another one-run game. Now 5-0.
5-0 in one-run games. Marlins over 500. Marlins television network there with the video. Who got that save? AJ Puck got that save. Second save of the season. AJ Puck, 1 earned run allowed in 8 innings. But here's the key thing with AJ Puck, and it always is for anybody who's trying to be the closer. You know, we got a lot of jobs in baseball. Who's the closer? This guy, that guy. Let's try that guy. One of the things that kills any opportunity at closing games is free passes. AJ Puck, who has had problems with his control in years previous. Remember, he came from the A's to the Marlins. It was a spring training deal. AJ Puck's always had trouble with his command and control. This season, thus far, 1 walk in his 8 innings. That's a huge, huge thing for AJ Puck. Another massive hurdle for AJ Puck has been health. Obviously, thus far, he's been healthy. He's made 6 appearances this year. I fear and I feel that the Marlins are of the belief, and I don't disagree with them on this. I think they're of the belief that we can't really use AJ Puck on back-to-back days, which is another kind of hiccup to winning a closer's job. But you look at the contenders in Florida. I mean, you got Dylan Floro, Tanner Scott, AJ Puck. I will say he has come in the 9th inning of every single appearance this year. I think he's your best bet in Miami. I'm not going to sit here and predict success. Predicting success with mostly unknown closers is fool's errand. It's a waste of everybody's time. But time and time again, every single baseball year, we have guys who come out of nowhere and end up with 28 saves. And you might say, oh, well, that guy always showed signs of being that dude, but then it happens. Or it doesn't happen. It fails again. With AJ Puck, it could happen. There's signs. Now, they fooled around with him being a starter and a reliever. I got to say, because of his health issues, he can't be a starter. And I think the Marlins realize that, too. He's a bullpen guy. His K rate is not super. You know, after all the injuries, he's kind of lost velocity. He is not a dominating closer. You don't need to be dominant to get saves, though. Talk to Daniel Bard. Talk to Mark Melancon. You can get saves without being dominant. Puck might be better than both those guys, by the way. So again, we kind of reference everybody in April, even in May, looking for saves, trolling the waiver wire. AJ Puck, take a look at him. A couple of saves. Don't want to say he's locked in by any stretch, but last night took care of business and got that win against San Francisco. Our 5th and final item of things that mattered from last night does not come from baseball. No, the NBA playoffs are underway. Last night was the 3rd day of the NBA postseason, and it was game number 2 in Sacramento, California. That's right. They're in the playoffs, the Sacramento Kings. I think it was like 6,200 days between playoff games for Sacramento. They had a big win on Saturday against Golden State. Then the fans had to wait 2 excruciating days to get to game number 2 between the Warriors and the Kings. Well, game 2 was a nice repeat of game number 1. The Kings won again. They're now up 2-0. But instead of us talking about the Kings and maybe being able to slay the defending champion Warriors, instead of talking about that, we're left talking about Draymond Green.
Monk puts it up. And Curry's got the board. Green gets tied up. And a technical has been assessed. Sabonis is down.
Let me say this. Draymond stepped on him, but Sabonis grabbed his leg first.
Domantas Sabonis writhing in pain.
Now watch the end of this play. As he goes down, watch him grab Draymond right there. Now that right there is where the foul came in. So he grabs Draymond's leg right there. Now Draymond steps on him.
For holding the leg of Draymond Green. We had a flagrant
Draymond Green has picked up a flagrant 2.
It's always about Draymond, right? TNT with the coverage there. Good replay angle as well. Should note, Sabonis got a technical for grabbing Draymond Green's foot. Draymond, though, got a flagrant 2 for slamming his foot into Sabonis's midsection. Now, both guys, I think Sabonis had, some scans done after the game. His ribs are fine. Draymond is supposedly now getting a scan of his ankle. Oh, they're grabbing my feet. Okay, it's playoff basketball, but it's also Draymond Green. I'm not saying what Sabonis did was right. It isn't. But Draymond Green forcefully drove his foot into Domantas Sabonis' midsection. So he was thrown out of the game. Sacramento wins it. What was the final there? 114-106. Worth noting, the Warriors have not been down in a series 0-2 since 2007. It's now 2023. Now, the good news is they get to go back home. Will they be there with Draymond Green? I think they will. Amazingly, nobody really thinks this rises to the level of a playoff suspension. It's just a thing. I'm sure there'll be a fine. I don't think there'll be a suspension. We'll see. Frankly, if you're into this sort of stuff, it's good business for the NBA to have the Warriors hang around. It's probably good business to have a villain like Draymond Green. And that's what he is. Let's understand what Draymond Green is. He plays the villain, okay? He's one of those guys, the traditional, hey, he's on my team, I love him. Hey, he's on that team, I absolutely despise him. That's what Draymond Green is. He's just a villain. He's been doing it for years and years and years. This ain't even the worst thing he's ever done. But back to what really matters here. It's the Warriors being down 2 games to none. They're the defending champs. And, we all watched that ESPN series, The Last Dance, the Bulls dynasty, Jordan, Pippen, all those guys. And it talks about that final year before Jerry Krause blew everything up with the Bulls. We kind of got that going on with Golden State. They've just got silly contracts. They're playing silly luxury taxes. Now, if they win or they make it to the NBA Finals, maybe they can go to their owner and say, hey, look, man, we're on the doorstep. You can't break this up. Didn't work for the Bulls, but maybe it could work for the Warriors. If you lose to the Kings in the first round, it ain't happening. You're moving on from Draymond Green. You're moving on from Klay Thompson. You're starting the rebuild. So there's a lot on the line with the Warriors. Next game is coming up on Thursday night. That'll be on TNT, 10 o'clock Eastern on Thursday night. I was looking at the odds. Right now, Sacramento is minus 160 to win this series. Golden State's plus 135. And remember what we've got here. Golden State going back home for a couple of games. Why is that notable? Well, if you know anything about the Warriors this year, they're close to the best team in basketball when they're playing in front of their home fans. And then they're like one of the worst teams in basketball on the road. Here's the record. 11-30 on the road this year, 33-8 at home. So if you're into the futures market, Golden State plus 135, not too shabby. Not too shabby. And really the only reason they're losing right now is they're not hitting from behind the three-point line. Like Steph Curry last night was 3 of 13. For the series, they are 29 of 90. So they're hitting about 32% of their threes. During the regular season, they hit 39%. They were the second best team in the NBA in shooting threes. They've just kind of lost that in the first 2 games. I'm not a Golden State backer or anything, but plus 135, heading home. They're going to have Draymond. Heck, they got Steph Curry. They need to get Jordan Poole right. That's a big thing here. He's got an ankle injury. He didn't look good last night off the bench. That'll be critical. Again, Game 3 coming up on Thursday night back in Golden State. We'll see if Sacramento can keep the good times rolling. Those are the 5 things that mattered from last night. When we return here on BSN, we'll give you 5 things that will matter tonight. Before any of that, let's get you some more NBA talk. Our man Ricky Props with some thoughts for tonight's playoff action.
Hey, it's Rick Campbell, a.k.a. Ricky Props for Better Sports Network. Let's go to the wood with Darius Garland, over 20.5 points, minus 140 at home against the Knicks tonight in Game 2. Had 17 in Game 1. We're due for a positive correction tonight. New York allows the 11th most points to point guards. Kawhi Leonard at Phoenix, under 28.5 points, minus 110. He's been under this number in 6 of the last 8. 38 in the last game. He's due for a correction on the downside in this game. Donovan Mitchell at home against New York, over 4.5 assists, minus 145. New York allows the 9th most dimes to shooting guards. He had 8 assists in Game 1, 7.5 against New York in the regular season. And Julius Randle at Cleveland, under 24.5 points, minus 125. Second game back is usually a dead leg game. He had 19 on 7 of 20 in Game 1. Go to bettersports.com and on demand with the Better Sports Network app, and hit us up at Better Network on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter.
Welcome back to the 5-Pack. Next up, the 5 things that will matter. Here's Kyle Elfrink.
Good to have you back with us. It is our daily hour-long get-together. Kyle Elfrink with you on the Better Sports Network. It is a Tuesday. I want to remind you later tonight, the Tour Junkies will get you set for the upcoming week of PGA golf action. 7 o'clock with the Tour Junkies tonight. And also, if you have not signed up for the BSN Daily newsletter, head over to bettersports.com. Get signed up every morning, delivered right into your inbox. We'll give you the programming, any changes, any news, any events, contests. We'll give you some prop bets. It's all there in the newsletter each and every day. You don't have to do a thing. You give us your email address, boom, you're right in. So check that out at bettersports.com. Okay, moving along to the 5 things that will matter tonight. I'll follow the crowd on this one, right? We don't get this a lot in baseball. We get this a ton in like the NBA or NFL. But what we got tonight in New York is a fun one. Even though they don't truly get to go against each other, we get to see Shohei Ohtani against Aaron Judge. Now, we're not going to see Ohtani pitch. He actually was pitching yesterday against Boston. Only went 2 innings because of a very lengthy rain delay. So this is going to be Ohtani, the hitter, over the next 3 days versus Judge, the hitter, over the next 3 days. It'll be fun. You know, there's excitement. And this is what baseball needs. Probably the 2 most exciting guys in the game right now facing off. For the season, Ohtani hitting 298, 385 with an on-base percentage, 491 on the slug. Judge is at 286, 388 on the on-base percentage, and 589 with the slug. Judge with 5 home runs, 8 ribbies, 13 runs, and 2 stolen bases. Ohtani, 3 homers, 9 ribbies, 10 runs, no steals. Might also add that Ohtani's 2-0 with a .86 ERA, a .91 whip, and 11.6 Ks per 9. These guys are doing what they do. So they're playing well. That makes it more exciting. We had the whole MVP debate last year. We may have it again this year, but they're off to good starts. Last season, by the way, Aaron Judge, 3 home runs in 6 games against LA. So he did to the Angels pretty well what he did to everybody in 2022. But check out Shohei Ohtani. It's kind of interesting. This will be tonight his 11th game at Yankee Stadium. In the first 10 games, he's hitting 139 under the bright lights. 244 on base. His slug at Yankee Stadium, 417. Now, he's only had 5 hits at Yankee Stadium. 3 of them have gone over the wall. That's what lefties do at Yankee Stadium. He does have 13 strikeouts and 36 at-bats. So for whatever reason, it's only 10 games. But Ohtani has not had a huge measure of success under the bright lights. Who will they be facing? Judge will get Suarez, Canning, and Sandoval. Nothing scary there over the next 3 days. Ohtani gets Schmidt, Brito, and Cortez. Nothing too bad there. The Cortez-Ohtani thing may be fun. Lefty versus lefty. But other than that, no stud pitchers facing off against these guys. Hopefully they will put on a show at Yankee Stadium beginning tonight. Let's move to item number 2 of things that will matter. My man, Byron Buxton. You know, last week on the show, Byron Buxton had that really wild collision with the Chicago White Sox second baseman and went head over heels. And I thought, oh my God, we're here again with Byron Buxton. Well, surprisingly, he didn't miss a game. Here I thought Byron Buxton would miss 3 months. I kid. But he didn't miss a game, which was surprising. Maybe he should have missed a game. Check this out. Byron Buxton tonight. Minnesota's on the road in Boston. Check this out. Each of his last 9 at-bats have concluded with a strike 3. He is 0 for 9 with 9 punch-outs. Byron Buxton this year, and he's always struck out. Okay, this is not breaking news. But Byron Buxton this year has struck out in every single game. He has played 15 games. He's got to strike out in every single one of them. He is striking out at a 40% clip right now. For his career, he's at 29. He's at 40. Who is he up against tonight? Chris Sale is the battle, and Chris Sale has kind of managed to keep Buxton in check. The Twins outfielder is 3 for 15 with 8 strikeouts. So we'll see. Something to watch tonight. Byron Buxton. Can he possibly go 10 consecutive at-bats with strikeouts in each at-bat? Can he do it? We'll see. Let's move to our third item of what will matter for tonight, and we're going to stay right there in Beantown. I mentioned the name Chris Sale. What are we doing tonight with Chris Sale? What's he going to do for us tonight? Chris Sale is a guy that I have no interest in. I think he's cooked. And thus far, he's looked cooked this year. 3 starts. He has lasted 12 innings. His ERA is over 11. His whip is over 2. Now, he is not that awful, okay? Me saying Chris Sale's cooked, I wasn't saying that. Just said I'm not interested and he's not going to be like Cy Young level. He's done. He's old. He's beat up, okay? It happens. That's where I'm at with Sale. In his defense, he has like a crazy high home run per 9. It's like almost 4. I mean, it's impossible to have a number that high. His left on base percentage is like 53%. It should be like around 70. So these are silly things that happen through 12 innings. Like you look at him, his walk rate's sky high. He's given up a ton of fly balls. His hard hit percentage is like over 40. His velocity is pretty well the same it's always been. To me, this is small sample size theater with Chris Sale. And again, I'm not a backer of Sale. I'd probably start him tonight if I had him. Take my shot, send him out there, see if the turnaround begins against the Twins. I don't think Minnesota has that fearsome of a lineup. So I'd take my shot there. But it's been a bad start, and we'll have to see if Chris Sale can get it figured out as he takes to the hump tonight. Let's go to our fourth item. Speaking of giving up home runs, I mentioned Chris Sale, 3.8 per 9 innings. That's for this year alone. Let's talk about a guy who is more around 2.2, 2.3 for his career, which is a really ugly number. Tonight in Washington, it will be home run prone versus home run strong. Josiah Gray, he of the Gopher-itis, will be taking on this Orioles team who, I don't think it's a beer. Let's just say they slug a Powerade every time they hit a home run. I think that's Adley Rauschman enjoying the bong dong. Or is it? No, the dong bong. Let's get it right, Kyle. Got to be cool. Josiah Gray, 2.3 home runs per 9 for his career. This season, he has given up 4 home runs in 16 2/3 innings. Left-handers love to go after Josiah Gray. Left-handers have an OPS of 910 against him. If you look at his career, I should say left-handed hitters. Left-handed hitters have hit 3 more homers than right-handed hitters. Well, Kyle, that doesn't. They've done it in 150 fewer at bats. They crush them. So who are your lefties tonight? If you're playing DFS, who are your lefties? Adley Rauschman, Anthony Santander, Cedric Mullins, Gunnar Henderson. Get him in your lineup. Lefties against Josiah Gray. Do it. Now, Baltimore is number 3 in the AL in home runs. They're tied for 6th in Major League Baseball in home runs. Most of their success has come on the road when it comes to home runs. They like hitting right-handers. Most of their home runs have come against right-handers, as you might expect. And they're playing at Nationals Park, which honestly plays pretty down the line. It's almost an exact even in terms of its park factors for hitters and pitchers. But one thing where it does truly favor hitters is home runs. It's about 8% better than the average major league ballpark for home runs. So you throw all this in the pot. Josiah Gray, left-handed power. Orioles have been hitting home runs already this year, and a ballpark that does help the fly balls ever so slightly. Orioles. Let's go 2 home runs tonight against Josiah Gray. We'll pick on them. We'll go with Cedric Mullins and Gunnar Henderson for our home runs tonight. Going to go with that prediction. Finally, let's move to our 5th item that will matter tonight. Did someone say hockey? Did I hear that? Hockey playoffs started last night. Tonight, 4 other series will get rolling with game 1. One of the biggest storylines is Toronto, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Another good year for the Maple Leafs, but as anybody who's followed them knows, it means nothing. It means nothing because I'm going to show you a photo right now of the last time the Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup. Flash it up there, Heather. I'm going to warn everybody, it's black and white. I don't think there are color photos of the last time the Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup. This is 1967. And the Maple Leafs are akin to like the Packers, are the Yankees, are the Lakers. I mean, they are one of the hallmark franchises of the entire NHL, but they haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1967. Now, it's not just the long-term curse that the Maple Leafs have. They also have a recent curse. Let's go to a color photography, shall we? The recent curse is this team always does well in the regular season, and then they die out in the first round. Check this out. 5 of the last 6 years, they've lost in the first round. They have been a 3 seed or better in all those years. This season, they're up against Tampa. They are, again, a better than 3 seed. They're favored against Tampa to win the series. Toronto is minus 155. Tampa is plus 135. But it was just a year ago. Toronto came into the first round playing Tampa. They were the favorite. They lost. Now, they've got like Austin Matthews. They've got Mitch Marner. They've got John Tavares. They traded for Ryan O'Reilly, William Nylander. Like, they are loaded. But they rarely can get like those studs going in the same game. It's like all Matthews and nothing from or it's all Tavares and nothing from the other guys. Or it's all Marner, nothing from the other guys. Got to get them all going at once. If they do that, they should win. Now, the other bugaboo here is Ilya Samsonov in net. He doesn't have much of a playoff history. That, in the past, has also been a problem for Toronto. But tonight is the first night of trying to end this curse. Not just the Stanley Cup curse, but also the first-round curse. 7:30 tonight, Maple Leafs and Lightning. Huge game 1. If Toronto loses this first game, oh, to be a listener to Sports Talk Radio tomorrow up in Ontario. It's the national sport. It's the national team. Can we win a first-round series? ESPN will have that game tonight, Tampa and Toronto. Those are the 5 things that will matter for this Tuesday evening when we return here on the Better Sports Network. This matters to me. We will get our first pack rip of some Stadium Club Baseball, 1991, second series, featuring, as I noted earlier, check this out. Let's see, but Kyle's still learning how to work this. Kodak. That's right. Produced with Kodak imaging technology, which was a thing for like 80 years. It ain't a thing anymore. So it's a real journey into the past. And these are nice looking cards. And we'll take a look at the backs. The backs were kind of innovative back in 1991. So our pack rip, it's coming up next right here on the 5-pack of the Better Sports Network.
What in the hell is wrong with Draymond Green? Here we go again with the Golden State Warriors superstar not being able to check his emotions. He stomped on Sacramento Kings Domantas Sabonis late in Game 2 of their Western Conference first-round playoff series. Hey, I got on here today thinking, you know what? Adam Silver needs to suspend Draymond Green. But you know what? It shouldn't come from Adam Silver. Steve Kerr has to be the one to do this. Steve Kerr needs to step in and suspend Draymond Green. How long are you going to let Green embarrass this organization? He started the season off by punching a teammate. Now he's stomping on opponents. He ran Kevin Durant. He may be the reason why you didn't win in 2016 because he got suspended then. Steve Kerr, I understand Dre is the backbone of this championship organization, but at some point, you got to put your foot down and stop this behavior. Now, for more better content, check out the Better Sports Network app, bettersports.com, and at Better Network on social media.
Time now for the Daily Pack Rip on the 5-pack with Kyle Elfrink.
The executive's fired up, Corey Parson. Like to hear that. He said at some point you got to stop this with Draymond Green. I don't disagree with that statement, but aren't we beyond that point? If we haven't stopped it yet, why are we stopping it now? I don't know. We welcome you back to the 5-pack. Kyle Elfrink with you. It is time now to do our pack rip. Now, let's see if we can top yesterday. Yesterday, we had a lot of fun. What was this? 89 Dunross. We had a great pack, 89 Dunross, because most notably, it featured Kyle Elfrink's favorite player of all time, Ellis Burks. So that was fun. But we had a lot of good stuff in this pack. I mean, Hall of Famer Paul Molitor was in this pack. Who else was? Dave Winfield, Mr. Bases Loaded, Pat Tabler, Kenny Williams, Bobby Welch. It was good stuff. Today, we move on to a 1991 card set, Top Stadium Club. Noted this earlier in the show. This was Top's answer to Upper Deck. Upper Deck came into the baseball industry in 89, shook everybody up. Topps was the old standard bearer. Nobody messed with Topps. You know, Dunross and Fleer, they tried, but nah, they weren't Topps. Then Upper Deck came in and changed the game. And Upper Deck was like the Uber. Topps was the taxi cars. and here came Uber. And so the taxi drivers had to improve and up their game. So Topps said, we're going to up our game with Stadium Club. And we're going to up it so much, we're going to hang out with Kodak and make cards with Kodak, which was a thing. Not a thing anymore, but it was a thing. Okay, so this is a fun set. These were big, man. This was Topps jumping into the premium marketplace. It was so premium that, you know, every time we open these card sets, there's always like some giveaway, some kind of special card. There ain't nothing with these. Nothing. There's no giveaway. There's nothing I can mail in to you know, win. Now, the other thing, let me see how many cards are in this. We got 12? Or they really stuck together. So let's see, 12 cards. Now, remember, folks, these are produced with Kodak. Now, I'm not looking at the names. I'm just kind of rearranging the cards and separating them so that they aren't stuck. My initial look at these 12 cards is that it appears that the Kodak photographers were only able to show up for spring training. There's like a lot of boring looking spring training photos here, like really bad. Like it's one thing to go with Kodak filming technology. But seriously, when you send them down to Florida in March and you just take a bunch of photos on the backfields of spring training, you end up with crap like this. Seriously? Topps? You're going to invest all this money and this is what you give me? Now, I realize you can only do as much as your subject gives you, and Scott Bankhead doesn't give you a whole lot. But seriously, come on. Seriously? Scott Bankhead. Well, I guess if nothing else, he will forever be known as the first card in our first ever pack rip of Stadium Club. Now, one very cool item here. This was like really cool back in the day. I mentioned the back of these cards. They're sharp. Now, my old man eyesight is doing me no favors on the back of this card. You had to be like 10 to read these things. But one cool feature, which even my eyeballs can pick up on. Most of these cards, they feature the rookie card of the player. That's the very famous 85 Topps U.S. Olympic subset. That was a subset. That 84 Olympic team and 85 Topps came out and gave all these guys featured cards. So, like, there's a famous Mark McGuire. He was on that USA baseball team. I think Rafael Palmeiro was too. Maybe Will Clark. I don't know. But Palmeiro and McGuire remember being on that team. And all these guys got a USA baseball card. They put it in the regular 85 Topps set. I guess Scott Bankhead was one of those guys. That card is not famous, but this was a feature of Stadium Club. You can see the rookie card of each and every player. Now, I'm reminded as I look at the back of that card, it is card number 597. This is Series 2 of Topps Stadium. So we're going to have a lot of guys who probably aren't very good. Really, you would create Series 2 because of trades and because of rookies. That's really why you'd have a Series 2. Here's a guy who hung around in bullpens for decades, not only as an actual player, but then he went to be a pitching coach. That's Rick Honeycutt right there. Rick Honeycutt, who bounced around the majors all over the place. Now check out his rookie card. Hey, can I get the hat that is the size of a chimney just so it can hold my hair underneath it? Sure, Rick. Here you go. Now, another thing, breaking with convention here. Topps was famous for all the stats. You used to have every single year of Rick Honeycutt, you'd have his stats. On this set, Stadium Club, you only get the 1990 numbers and the career numbers. That's all you get. And then check out all the crazy stuff. Rick Honeycutt against lefties. Let's see. Rick Honeycutt against righties. All sorts of things. So, there you go. Would you like another photo taken at spring training at 10:30 in the morning? Well, if so, let me give you Mike Witt. Mike Witt, who was a very good pitcher for the Angels in that 86 season. I don't want to Cy Young. No, Clemens won in 86. But Mike Witt was quite good. By this point, he'd been jettisoned to the Yankees. Check out Mike Witt's. Man, looking at these rookie cards are almost more fun than looking at the actual cards here. All these rookie cards give you a blast from the past. Let's follow up one Mike with another. Here's Mike Heath, who was nothing more than a pinch hitter. Mike Heath gets the 3-paneled rookie card. Who else is on there with him? Let's see. We have Dave Rashis, Brian Doyle, and Mike Heath. That is 1979. Back in 79, they couldn't even spring for a color photo. That's why you team up with Kodak. We'll get you really good looking color photos. Oh my gosh. A photo that's actually in a big league stadium. It's pregame. But Lloyd McClendon, who's probably more well-known for being a manager. He was a guy, you have to look it up on YouTube, went crazy one time throwing bases around. Acted like a 3-year-old. So Lloyd McClendon standing in the batter's box. Moving next to an actual guy you've heard of and enjoyed watching play, Fred McGriff, Hall of Famer. There you go, Freddie Mac. There's his rookie card, 1987 Topps, if memory serves correct. Believe that is the second series, the Tiffany, as they called it. Or Topps traded back in 87. Now, here's on the hitters. We've been showing you a lot of pictures, but look at the advanced stats with the hitters. This was the start of everything popping up. Now, again, the print. My God, look at that print. Am I supposed to be able to read that? Woo, magnifying glass. Here's a guy who I always loved because of the glasses that he wore. Chuck McElroy. Chuck McElroy. Now, he was going to the glasses by the time 1990 came around in his rookie season, which I believe is 89. Chuck McElroy not wearing the glasses. He quickly figured out, I better put some glasses on if I'm going to surprise this league. Man, here's another. Okay, spring training. Man, Kodak. I'm starting to realize why not only did Kodak go under, but Topps has kind of disappeared too. It's like, put some effort into this, man. Like I said, this was an answer to Upper Deck. Upper Deck wouldn't dare put this kind of crap on a car. Even if Tom Lampkin, they wouldn't put this. I mean, this is his board. This is not fun to look at. Like, you get a guy like Fred McGriff, it's classic home run scene, and that's what you give me? An outtake from the Tom Amansky video? Terrible. Here's the man who I believe made the first ever start in Florida Marlins history. They were the Florida Marlins back then. Was very famous for his knuckleball. Charlie Huff. Charlie huffing and puffing by the time we got to 1991. Now check out his rookie card from 1972. Charlie Huff there. Alongside Bob O'Brien and Mike. What is that? My gosh, I'm going to have to go to the eye doctor. Mike somebody. Boy, nothing has ever forced me to say, oh, I got to go sit behind a machine than trying to read these top stadium. Ugh. Stadium Club, please. I love the information, but if I can't use it, who cares? A man that I recall, Gary Gaetti, many people recall him, one of my favorite memories of all time, as a young professional in the sports radio field. Look, Gary, is his shirt? Oh, yeah, his shirt is tucked in. Gary Gaetti, in his latter years, ended up in St. Louis. And I remember going into the clubhouse, and Gary Gaetti was old school. By that point, Gary Gaetti was probably, he was born in 1958. So by this point, when I remember seeing Gary Gaetti, he had to be 39, 40 years old. Gosh, he was probably 58. Yeah, he was probably 40 years old, 40, 41 years old, playing in St. Louis. And I always remember Gary Gaetti, and let me just paint a picture for you. Walking into the clubhouse after a game. It was another 105-degree night in St. Louis. And there's Gary Gaetti sitting in nothing but his jock strap, a cut-up T-shirt with a Budweiser in each hand on the leather couch. Is that enough for you? I think there might have been sliding shorts, I'm pretty sure, under the jockstrap. But a Budweiser in each hand, canned version. A shirt with the sleeves cut off. And it looked like he had just been through a 12-round boxing match. Gary Gaetti. He's in his 40s. Give him a break. Take it easy on him. The legend to Blue Jays fans, Joe Carter, had the big home run to win the World Series. I think that was 91. So this would have been going back to 1990. And I remember this rookie card for Joe Carter was a thing. That's also from the 85 top set. Carter started his career with Cleveland. And Joe Carter was an RBI producer. Always put up numbers, driving in runners. Had that big moment winning the World Series, home run off Mitch Williams. And that 85 card was pretty popular. Finally, yet another spring training shot. Ken Daly, left-hander out of the bullpen. Interesting story is I worked with Ken's daughter, Sarah Daly, who is no longer in the sports TV or radio field. But she worked a lot in radio here in St. Louis. Made his home in St. Louis, Ken Daly, left-hander out of the bullpen. And there you go. Those are your 12 cards. I was really excited for this set. It was kind of a letdown. I got to say, the photos suck. Kodak, I need more action. Let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 12 cards in this set. I would argue 7 of them are people standing around. 7 of the 12 standing around. That is our pack rip for Tuesday. Another pack rip coming up on Wednesday. I will be back at 12 Eastern with the 5-pack, recapping what mattered from Tuesday, looking ahead to Wednesday. Thanks to Heather Klein. We'll catch up on Wednesday afternoon.